Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is the eSports Report Daily Update. Benson is laughing because we were dancing like this in the commercial break.
In the break.
It was really awkward.
I thought it was awesome.
Running in jackets with gingers is the name of that dance move. If you'd like to find it on iTunes, pay me 99 cents. Benson, we're talking about all of the best teams in the world that are attending the Call of Duty Championships going down next weekend. We've covered so far Epsilon.
Yep.
We've covered TCM.
Yep.
We've covered FaZe.
Yep.
Now it's time for another American.
America.
Who are we covering?
We are covering Team EnVy, and I am so excited about covering this team. It's one of my favorite teams to really spectate and to cast over. And you can see that the lineup on your screen starts off with Merc, Joseph DeLuca. What a player. So much respect for him as a player.
He acts like a 30-year-old at 20 years old.
He really does. He is so much. I was surprised because I was asking. I was like, Merc, how old actually are you? Because I saw one of the graphics and I was like, that has to be wrong. He's like, I'm 20. I was like, I'm older than you.
Makes you feel like Grandpa Benson, doesn't
it? It really does. He's a very, very mature player, and it really shows in his gameplay as well. Very, very smart, very, very focused individual as well.
Yeah, takes his time, plays it very slow and patiently, always makes the right decisions, and at any moment, he can just go into full-on slay beast mode. Yeah. Rambo, though, is the real strat master for this squad. You know, Raymond and Lucier was going to step out and be the team's coach after Scumpy was picked up by EnVy. Since the return of Scumpy to Optic Gaming, Rambo stepped back into the starting lineup. He's playing better than I've seen him in a long time. He was a force to be reckoned with at the U.S. Championship, but he and Merc have really surrounded themselves with some serious pickups. Talk to me a bit about Study.
Oh, Study, I mean, he's just such a player. One of those guys which just really lives on the hype. If he gets himself hyped, he is just a menace for whoever he's playing. It doesn't matter any of the top teams in the world. He can easily top frag in those games. The problem is he can be known for being just a little bit inconsistent at times, but that's the great thing. Teaming with players like Merc and Rambo, the experience that they have, they are really mentoring Study into just a dominant force. And honest to God, in the next couple of years, and even in the next couple of MLG seasons, I really expect to see Study shine out in the statistics.
Absolutely. I mean, Study, he just has those games where you watch and you're like, wow,
exactly.
What did he just do to them?
Right.
I feel bad for their families.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch. But then Nameless. Nameless is a guy, we saw him with success on Unite Gaming. They won the PAX event there.
Right.
Then he went to Curse Las Vegas, teaming with Parasite. Dropped from Curse Las Vegas during the whole team shuffle, and EnVy immediately went after this guy. What is it about Nameless that makes him such an attractive pickup?
You know, Nameless has the great mentality, that winning mentality, has a great attitude towards competitive gaming and his teammates more importantly, and as well as that, he is just a beast, plain and simple. He was my MVP from UMG Philly. He was so many people's MVP, just consistently slaying. It's what he does best. But even when it comes to the objective-based work, he can do that as well. He can basically do whatever his team needs to. But in all honesty, it's that slaying power and the hype that he really brings to this team, because it seems that now, as we heard Shane say, sometimes it's hype which can really be a massive factor in Call of Duty. And you know, you have a player like Study, who when he gets hyped plays really well, and then you have a player like Nameless. You put those two together, and when they click, it's scary.
Yeah, and I think the real key for this team is the communication. When they're all four talking, that is when they're at their most lethal, because Rambo processes all that information, knows exactly what to do with the objective, and can get those down with incredible cover fire from the other three. So this team, very well-rounded. No real all-star. Like, if you were putting together an all-star lineup, I don't think any of these players are one that would say, take me in the first round ballot. I must be on that team because I'm so shiny and sparkly with my gameplay. They're just very consistent, in my opinion. But I want to get the opinion of someone who knows them extremely well, a former teammate of Nameless and a few more. Let's bring on Parasite to join the show. Paragoat, are you there?
Hey, guys, what's up?
Not much, man. Just going through this daily update, and we're taking a look at EnVy now. We just showed the roster, and I know you're watching the stream back home. Talk to us a little bit about these four members, starting with Merc.
Okay, so Merc has been an extremely consistent player throughout his whole career. He's known for, I think, not placing out of the top 5 for about like a year and a half, 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, he's been around for ages and consistently on top. The thing that kind of bugs me about Merck is that no one really ever gives this guy too much credit. He's kind of quiet on his team, but in honesty, he's probably usually one of the best, if not the best player on his team as an overall leader and everything. That's what I think about Merck.
Yeah, Merck's kind of the man. We covered it a little bit earlier, just 20 years old, but he acts like a real mature grown-up. If you ever need to have a conversation with the team, if there's ever any drama and you need to get it settled, just go to Merck. He'll tell you how to calm it down, what's going down, and what really people are upset about. So love that guy, but I also love his teammate Rambo. And Rambo almost hung up the controller this year. He's competing now at the World Championship. What is his strengths and what are his weaknesses? Because I know you faced off against him for $400,000 back in Black Ops 2.
Okay, so Rambo's strengths are obviously the fact that he's really good at communicating and he has really good knowledge of the game, and he's very good at predicting what other teams are doing and like how the other team plays the game. The thing that is Ray's counter, the thing that kind of doesn't make him the best player is the fact that he has problems executing. So even though he knows and understands what another team does and he understands how to do a certain thing, he has problems actually making it happen. And that's been Rambo's notorious problem throughout his whole career. It's the fact that his gun skill, I guess, is a lot of people would say is not the best, but his smarts are really like on point. It's just that if he can find a way to consistently execute and improve his shot, it's gonna make him into one of the best players, if not the best in the game.
And when we saw Rambo at the World Championships, I thought that was one of his best tournaments. He definitely knew the time to shine. He was slaying, running flags at the same time, was at one point the lead slayer in a capture the flag as commentated, had 2 returns and then also I think 3 captures in that game. And it's not easy to cap back in Black Ops 2. Yeah. But that takes us to our final 2 players. Talk to me about Jeremy Estacio, the 18-year-old addition to this EnVy lineup, playing in his first World Championship.
Oh man, I could tell you so much about Study because I've been playing with this kid for so long. I've been playing him back in the Modern Warfare 3 days when he just started out playing GB tournaments, GB Search and Destroy tournaments, and then he attended his first LAN, I believe it was the UMG Chicago. And ever since I've played with this kid, his attitude and everything about him really stood out. I knew from the get-go that he was going to be a big success if he really dedicated his time into the competitive scene. And just after like a year of actually competing and like putting his nose to the grindstone, he's on one of the best teams, most notable teams in Call of Duty history in Team Envious. I mean, this guy is an amazing search and destroy player. His sniper is one of the best in the game. His slaying power and his aggression is just, bar none. I mean, this guy's an animal.
Now, we see EnVy actually go with a lot of aggressive strategies and stay with 4 submachine guns at times. Is Study most comfortable, or is he at his best when he's running with the sub, AR, or sniper, in your opinion, especially when it comes to S&D?
Oh, in Search and Destroy, I think he's most comfortable running a sniper. He's that wild card that will kind of play to himself and just he'll just be supporting his team, getting random picks here and there and just making it easy for his team.
Well, that brings us to the last player on the Envious lineup, and that's obviously going to be Nameless, a player which you've actually teamed with, Chris. I mean, tell us a little bit about Nameless. What are his pros, what are his cons?
Okay, well, Nameless is a veteran player. He's been playing Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2. I think he was actually like 13 years old back then. I mean, he was a young gun back then, and he's very experienced. He's very smart. His shot is one of the best I've ever seen. His reaction time's real quick. He's a very aggressive player. And going back to my old Curse LV team, the reason I don't think he kind of fit with us was because he is not an assault rifle player. He is not. He should not be running an AR. This guy's shot and reaction time is too good to be running anything but a submachine gun. He needs to be running up close and personal, getting in people's faces, and that's truly where he shines. Because going back at Philly, the way he played with an AR, he was using it like a sub, and that's why he was being really aggressive. I mean, the guy's shot reaction time, it's really good, and on top of that, he has a very high COD intelligence. I mean, overall, Nameless is a great overall player.
You know, and I think you just mentioned his reaction time and his gun skill there with the sub, with an MTAR, a submachine that has such incredible range. You have to think that COD Ghost is almost the perfect time for Nameless to shine.
Exactly that, and I think that's why we've seen him put up some serious digits on some of the tournaments that he's played at. And you know, I think this is the team for him, really, in terms of the way that he's, I don't want to say being mentored, but he has those players around him with the experience. He also has Study, who is kind of that wild hype card, you know, and those two together really do bounce off each other. I remember the US finals, just watching them bounce around in the booth, and you just had Merc and Ray just kind of sat there going, okay, we'll just do our thing, you do your thing.
All right, liking it. All right, well, guys, we've taken a look at the roster, but now it's time to take a look at the road they took to get to the World Championship. Of course, EnVy coming in with a very high seed, have a lot of pro points, but it was a difficult tournament for them. They started off in the winner's bracket, had to face Xfinity, a team who went on to actually advance to the World Championship, and then they met up with Optic Gaming in that second round, Ben.
Yeah. What a game that was. It was just insane. And that rivalry is so big in Call of Duty eSports. Everyone knows about those two teams. They go head to head and the fans absolutely love it. And it was Team Envious which managed to take down Optic in that round 2 and advance to play Strictly Business, who at that time everyone was shocked and they were like, well, how is SB here? I mean, they just were taking down teams like FaZe and Complexity 3-0 and everyone was like, what is going on? And unfortunately Team Envious did actually drop down to the losers bracket at that time, but even so they put up a fantastic fight.
That's right, and they went on to finish 5th place in that tournament. That is EnVy's road through the US Championship, and here you can see how they did it. They dropped down, faced off against FaZe after winning their round 2. They didn't have to go very far in the losers, and actually FaZe eliminated them there.
They did.
And what was arguably the most exciting match of the entire weekend.
Oh, I've never seen a better game than that in my entire life. Across any Call of Duty game, that was the best game I have ever seen.
That
if you haven't seen it, you need to go on YouTube right now and find that game because it is unreal. I mean, what can you say about that game?
It was pretty ridiculous. Some overtime action. We're going to throw it to a quick commercial break when we come back. If you haven't seen EnVy play, if you're a UK player fan who's been living underneath rocks and never watched any American Call of Duty, don't worry, I got it for you. If you're tuning in and you're hoping for Spanish subtitles, Benson can provide those after the show. We're coming with a commercial break. When we return, EnVy is going to be showcasing their skills. What's the game we're going to see?
So the EnVy game is, let me just double check, I don't want to tell anyone false information, you're pointing at it. It is going to be the EnVy versus Optic game. It's right, okay, Chris, all right.
Search and Destroy on Warhawk. We'll be back after this.